So, I joined Roblox for real back in 2016, the same year where it had a massive boom in new players and the start of the site's journey in becoming mainstream. The platform capturing a larger, newer audience meant that more innovation was needed to show everyone just what Roblox was capable of.
What on earth is that? The ugliest woman I've ever seen in my life.
They got sponsored by Disney this year, by the way. Back in 2016, two genres of games dominated the platform, tycoons and obbies. Kids, me included, ate these up like crack. They were our toilet tower defense, our Brookhaven, our toilet tower defense. My point is, tycoons and obbies were everywhere on the site, since they were easy to make and even easier to monetize. For the sake of making an actually brief video, I'm only going to be talking about obbies, but if this does well, or I just feel like it, then I can make a follow-up on tycoons. Obbies, the modern 5-year-old's first 3D platformer. Alas, gone are the days of spending half an hour on a 10-minute platforming challenge with your only reward being a pat on the back, and maybe some hats if you're lucky. And then you'd only be able to use them for a minute before your connection falters for a nanosecond, and this bad boy shows up and tells you to start over. God, what I would do to go back to a worse time. There were two types of obbies in this era, story obbies and please give me money. It's really hard to give the second type of obby an actual name, because it was such a nothing format meant to be quickly copy and pasted, but with a coat of paint that matched whatever the kids liked at the time. These obbies would usually start you off in an enclosed box with some microtransactions, and if you were lucky, they'd offer you some morphs too for the road. But you're a brain dead kid, so chances are you'll die like 5 levels in and have to continue on without your morph. These obbies usually consisted of a winding trail of generic colorful obstacles with pictures of the obbies theme to remind you of what you're really fighting for. Wasted time. At the very least, you'll probably get some pats or whatnot to mess around with once you win. But is that really special anymore? Absolutely, give a man a pat and he's fulfilled for a day. These obbies weren't always so harmless, I guess. During this era of Roblox, there were these little things called ticks, which for the uninformed boiled down to being a free currency that you could exchange for Robux. One way to acquire ticks was to get a bunch of whelps to visit your game. They didn't need to enjoy it, they didn't even need to stick around for longer than it takes to join the game. As long as the visit was registered, you were one step closer to getting a payout. So, a common tactic for greedy people was to make a game that garnered clicks, usually with a stolen Dennis Daily thumbnail because people really like those for some reason, but then have you spawn in this clunky teleporter free model that would bring you to the game they wanted to visit in. Why they didn't just directly teleport you to the game, I have no clue. But I guess it didn't work as well as envisioned. I wonder why. Because they changed their format up pretty quickly, and thus came the make it to the end for a surprise obbies. These games, as the name suggests, gave it their all in encouraging you to play their short obby to the end, promising great prosperity, wealth, and women where the road halted. At the end, you would be greeted with a large slide that would catapult you towards your end goal, and the whole world was yours. Why am I in Ruby and Sapphire Tycoon? Story obbies were the much more fondly remembered format of the time. These types of obbies weren't new to the platform, but seemed to reach their highest point in this era. They were typically about escaping the evil insert occupation here that was going to do their thing, but evil! You don't need to call your villain an evil dentist, that's just redundant. Usually, you'll start in a room that has your antagonist doing some evil or threatening action with this face. It's always this face, but I guess that's because it does its job. You'll also meet your friend who will guide you through the obby with a perpetual look of terror on his face. He'll drop some info on what's happening, but if you genuinely need it, then you were definitely the target audience for this game. Something this format has going for it is that most of the games have personalized obstacles. They're still reskins of generic obby levels for the most part, but at least they tried. This does help make these obbies not blend so much together, until you see the wall. I love pointing this out for some reason, but every one of these obbies uses the exact same animated liquid texture, and I found it funny. Anyways, you make it through some more obstacles, and typically the midway point has you being eaten alive and venturing through someone's digestive system for some reason. Then you get dumped out and just continue your adventure like nothing happened. Somewhere between that and the end, you'll go through a super speed level that's usually the hardest just because controlling a fast Roblox character is the worst feeling on the planet, and then you win and get a badge for your troubles. And then the game asks, do you want to do it again? Oh, do I? And then rinse and repeat and keep on repeating until Tower of Hell releases and natural selection takes its place. People have had enough of brain-dead easy obbies. They wanted a challenge now, and Tower of Hell delivered on that. Straightforward, story-based obbies dwindled in popularity, dying altogether as Platinum Falls, the main producer of these, kind of just disappeared off the internet. A new era was starting, and as much as I'd miss my slop, it was only looking uphill from here. Goodbye, story obbies. And then mascot horror became a thing, and guess who just showed up one day with the best idea to leech money from kids? Welcome back.